Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's live show, Gers TV. We're joined by Gordy, Jay, and a new member of the crew. We've got Dylan here. How are we, gents?
I'm alright, how are yous?
All good. I was better this time, or I should say Wednesday last week. But yeah, another weekend of symbolic performance. So yeah, not the
Same,
best. Yeah.
same stuff's different week. Anyways, Gordy, how are you?
Yeah, it's just the same as you guys probably. Just echo what Jay says there. I know, we'll get to it probably very shortly, but yeah, disappointed again coming off the back here. What should have been a easy win.
I know. Well, if you watch the game again, what should have been a fucking we should have lost. But hey ho, I think we'll try and get it over and done with. We'll talk a wee bit about Saturday, gents. Give us your overall opinions about it. Gordy, you go.
I think it's probably worth us spending a bit more time on it in a wee while because the new manager was brought in to. I mean, the reason why Beale and Clement and Gio lost their jobs is because we couldn't motivate ourselves and couldn't beat these the kind of lesser teams in the league. And it's history repeating itself. And yeah, I absolutely get it. It's only two matches in, but at the end of the day, you don't get a lot of time when you're a Rangers manager, and you certainly don't get extra time when half the fan base was probably against your appointment in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not quite at the stage of no return quite yet, but if we get through against Pelsen and then we postpone our league game, and then if the absolute worst happens and Celtic come behind us and win, we'll be 10 points behind after 4 games or something.
Yeah.
That's going to be very difficult for any manager to come back from. And as I say, particularly one that wasn't a popular appointment in the first place. So that's worst case scenario. The good news is we've got a game tomorrow. And it's the yin and yang of Rangers. We could easily qualify for the Champions League. So it's just mad. So yeah, disappointed, frustrated, and yeah, still very much in the undecided camp when it comes to Russell Martin.
Yeah, same here with me. Probably hitting the nail on the head. Jay, what about you?
Oh, fed up, really. To be honest, watching that performance just I don't know took all of that enthusiasm back out again. You know, same against Motherwell when we performed that way. Obviously, having these new players and this new manager and these new owners, you're thinking, new start, but it just seems to be the same old, which is really worrying because it doesn't seem to matter who we have in charge, who the owners are, what players we sign. We still can't seem to beat these teams that come to Ibrox and play a low block. It's like our whole recruitment strategy should be based around what sort of profile of player do we need in order to beat these low blocks. And I think we've made the right steps in terms of getting Gassama and getting the Ant-Man. But at the minute, it just seems like it's still not working. And to be fair, I think it's got to be down to the tactics for the manager because the current style of play, it's too slow. We should be. I mean, the last 20 minutes of the game was the best we played when we were down to 10 men. But it was almost as if we needed that shock to the system to get us going. But it should be down to the manager to be able to motivate these players to do the last 20 minutes, get that in from the start. The first 20 minutes should be like that. If Dundee come to Ibrox in the first 20 minutes, they're under the cosh and they're having to defend for their lives, it just changes their mindset completely. But if we go into every game against these teams and we just pass the ball about, not really putting them under any real pressure, then they get comfortable. They get into the great game, they're relaxed, and then they can grow from there. We should be putting them under pressure immediately, and that has to come down to Russell Martin, and his coaching staff being able to motivate the players to go out and perform, and to put them under pressure immediately. And it shouldn't have to come down to us getting a man sent off being 1-0 down before the players decide now we need to start playing. So I'm fed up. And just looking at tomorrow's game as well, it's like even we'll win tomorrow or draw or whatever, and we still go through fine. But it still doesn't answer any of the questions that we've got around the team against and playing against our domestic opposition. So it's like even if we go tomorrow and we win 3-0, great, but we know we can perform in these games. We know we can beat these teams. We still can't beat Dundee at home, And then we've got a game at the weekend against Alloa, and it's you expect to easily win that. But at the same time, I still feel like it's going to be it's going to be a struggle, and the fans are going to be on the players' back from the kickoff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll look towards this game at the weekend against Alloa, and you know, I'm getting flashbacks to the Queen's Park game. That game there at the weekend actually has me fear for Alloa at home. That's how bad it is. It's and I'm the same as you, Jay. I'm fed up, to be honest. It's the same as last week as well. It was an exact same sort of style of play, exact same, pretty a similar team that we put out as well. As much as we put out the same team as we did on Tuesday night. I mean, it's frightening how different we play in Europe to what we do in the league. Like, and as I just said there, it's the same team that we put out there on Tuesday night and that we did on Saturday, and it was like a completely new team. It was like a different club. Honestly, it was it's heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking to watch, to be honest, on Saturday. And we went a man down at 1-0 down. You go a man down, you fear the worst. To be honest, you don't even think you're getting an equaliser. And the fact that we struggled to get a draw at home against the team that's favourite to finish bottom of the league, Stephen Presley's Dundee. We draw at home at Stephen Presley's Dundee. I mean, it's if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Honestly. Dylan, what about you? What's your thoughts?
No, I just completely agree with what you've all been saying now. I think the midfield's far too slow at the build-up. They're just constantly going back to it. It's the same sort of players. They always go back away. I think Diamandi's too weak for the team as well. He always goes down on one knee to get out of like tight situations. He's playing in the SPFL. He has to toughen up a bit.
I agree as well. It's a physical league. You come into the game. It's well known for being physical and right sort of gritty football, but a lot of these players just don't seem cut out for it. And you know, we've had the same problem for years as well. These players can't break down a team that plays a low block, that plays 10-9 men behind the ball. So what can we do to fix that? What can we do?
I mean, the difference between the European games and the league games is that when we're playing in Europe, the teams don't sit on their own 18-yard box. They try and play a bit, which creates gaps. That's how that's a lot. That's how we got the second goal with Anthony on the right hand side when they were on the attack, and that's how in the game against Panathinaikos at home, 2 goals up the right hand side with Cutlass and Gassama. That's exactly how we scored. We cut them open because they were playing on their own an hour and a half. Teams like that don't do that in the FPL. Dundee come to Ibrox to play for set pieces. Yeah, Dundee took the lead. They could have scored 2 in the first half. They hit the post twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can only remember one real chance for winners in the first half. So yeah, we're just tippy tapping the ball about the place. Max Aarons has come in to potentially be our new right back, and every single time he got the ball, he turned back, literally. He turned towards his own goal, and that doesn't give Sam or Antman a chance, because if you're on the right hand side, Antman's ahead of you. If the guy that's meant to feed you the ball is always turning back, you're not getting the ball. So yeah, it's horrific to watch, and it's heartbreaking, because we should be winning 4 or 5-0 against these teams. Really,
personally, in my opinion, should be about 3 or 4-0 up at half time. It's the same as the Motherwell game. It's games that you've got to kill within about half an hour of the game. You've got to, but I don't know. It's tough. It's just it's boggling. It's mind boggling. It's how do we come back from that? How do we come back from such a poor start to the season?
It's difficult, because I mean, Celtic, as much as we dislike them and can't stand them, they're winning. They're the winning games. Yet, and the worst thing is, I've said this for 3 years, I don't think they've got a particularly great team. but it's almost as if for the last couple of seasons we've went, do you know what? Let's just give up the league, concentrate in Europe. Or either these guys think they're too good for the league games, they have to just show up and we win, or the tactics aren't there. But then you can't have Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, Michael Beale, Philip Clement, and now Russell Martin potentially all been wrong with our tactics. That's 4 managers. I think since Gerrard left, there's been an ethos change, a mentality shift at Ibrox, and I don't know where that comes from, to be honest. I don't want to just scapegoat Tab all the time. I don't want to get into that, because that's a different story. But there seems to be an ethos or a mentality shift, and I don't know how we're going to get shot of it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tavernier's a bit of an easy target, to be honest. Of course, being the captain, but it's hard. I don't know how you can blame Tavernier for that at the weekend when he played 20 minutes, 30 minutes. As much as
Oh.
I'm not too fond of him as a player and as a captain, but you can't blame. I've seen a lot of people blaming Tavernier and even Russell Martin as well, Kieran Dowell perhaps as well, and we'll get onto that in a minute, talking about when folk were booing him off the pitch. But yeah, we've seen it so many times with our midfield and our defence are just sitting it around the side, playing it back, and there's no sort of positivity within the team. It's just crap football, to be honest. It's frightening.
Yeah.
And you had Russell Martin, of course, when he came in. He was talking about this whole attacking style of play, and I've not seen that in many of our games. The only game that I've seen that is in the Victoria Pilsen game just there midweek. But I don't know about you, but just doesn't seem too great so far. But I'm not necessarily saying we should sack the manager. I think it's well too soon to talk about that. Of course, you've had plenty of folk talking about sacking the manager, but I think it's well too soon. You can't talk about that
No.
right now at this stage of the season. Skills aren't even back, and we're already talking about sacking the manager, for God's sake.
No, we're not going to sack the manager yet, because obviously we've only played two league games.
Yeah.
But having said that, if the Old Firm at the end of the month becomes embarrassing, because if Suter's playing those type of passes that he played at the weekend, they're going to be in every time, and they've got a lot more quality in the forward line than Diaz. So if we don't sharpen up, but I'm hoping, because obviously we're going to be playing against a side similar to what we've been playing against in Europe, so the best version of us normally comes out. But if we get beat in the Old Firm and it's not pretty, the pressure's already on him, but it will just be incredible, the amount of pressure that we're going to have, or he's going to have on him. And if you think about it, we could be what? So by the time we play them, we could already be 7 points behind. If obviously we're not playing a St Mirren game, we're more points behind than games we would have played in the league. Let alone losing another game and being 10 points behind with 3 games played. It's just unthinkable. But however, having said that, I've got a slight bit of hope, because we still have Igerman to come back in. We've got Mikey Moore, who's not played a minute yet, and we've got Telo Asgard, who's not played a minute for us yet. And these are the type of players. These are the type of players we've been missing. Mikey Moore, again, another option for the attack. You got Telo Asgard. Apparently he's and we've not seen him play, but from what we've heard from the supporters of the likes of Wigan and Luton, that he's really good at taking the ball under pressure and making things happen, which is what we lacked at the weekend. And then you got you got Hamza Egerman as well, who we know is a really clinical finisher and someone who we definitely miss, because for me, Dessa's playing against these low blocks, I just don't like it, because I feel like he spends half his time wrestling with the opposition centre backs, when we need someone to not get involved in all of that, to be smarter than that, and try and look for the spaces in a congested box. And I hate to say it, we need someone like what they had in Kyogo, someone who's agile, who's quick, who'll find the spaces, who'll get a shot off quickly. We need to find someone like that, because this whole passing it from side to side, it's are they doing that because there is no movement in the front line? They're waiting for that movement, so the balls can't be played as quickly. And when the ball does get played, it's like he gets the ball and then he tries too much with it, and then he gets tackled and he just falls to the ground. And it's like, even when we want him to hold the ball up, he's not doing that. So for me, before the weekend, I didn't think the striking options it was a priority for us to get another striker, because we already have 3. But Danilo, 0 confidence in him. Dessers, against these low blocks, 0 confidence in him. So sort of relies on Hamza Egerman to actually perform. But again, he's been injured. Is he going to get sold? So I feel like if we're gonna do anything against these teams, we have got to buy a striker that is perfect against low blocks.
Yeah.
Good question for you, though, because something Egerman right now. So you've actually, I was going to catch up some comments here, Jay, and you've stolen our founder and leader Simon's comment. He's highlighting that we do have Mikey Moore, Asgard, and Egerman coming back on Saturday, so that gives us different options. And Nathan said, I thought Russell Martin was right in calling the players out against Motherwell, and we've seen changes in the first. It's quite a long, I won't read it all. We've seen changes in the first leg against Pilsen, but we've been abysmal in the league, and we have to sort it out fast. And if he doesn't, he and we are both in big trouble. But here's a question I was going to ask about Egerman, right? So it's clear to me, I think that he'll be sold soon. Okay, hopefully not. I don't think he's a polished striker at this moment in time, but he's definitely got potential. But if you're Egan, right, and you're coming in and you're potentially getting sold in the next 2 weeks, are you going to risk injuring yourself? Do you know what I mean? So it sounds horrible to say, and I'm really, really sad we're in this situation. But if your hands are Egan and you've been told that you're sold for raising money, then how committed are you going to be in the challenges, and how committed are you going to be in the games? Because you don't want to risk injuring yourself and not getting that move to the Premiership, or Nice or Leon or whatever he's want to go for potentially. So that's my fear as well. And I don't rate Danilo at all. I don't want to get it again because I say it every week, and I really don't want to be a broken record. But yeah, Danilo is maybe playing Danilo and Dessers. Maybe we're missing a trick there. I don't know. But Danilo is not a striker for me at Rangers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, Gordy. I'm going to go back to what you were saying, Jay, and Si as well in the comments, talking about how we've got Asgard, Moore, and Iggyman coming back. I think that's probably your three most creative players that we've got in the squad. You've got Mikey Moore, a young boy, 18-year-old, 18-year-old, coming in from Spurs, and you had Spurs fans saying that he's probably their most, or one of their most creative players that they had last season, and even the season before as well. And a young boy, 18-year-old, I mean, that's what we need in the team. There was absolutely no creativity in the squad on Saturday. It took for us to get a penalty to get a draw at home against Dundee.
Yeah, I think it goes back to mentality as well.
Yep.
So these players apparently have, want the ball under pressure. They want the ball when things aren't going well, and I think that's what we lack, especially against these teams like Dundee. Everyone seems to shirk responsibility or want someone else to make something happen. Whereas these boys that we haven't yet seen are apparently ones that look for that. They want to take the ball under pressure. They want to make things happen. And like I said before, that has given me a bit of hope at the minute. But also the fact that we're not finished yet in the transfer window as well. I think we need some more signings. We've got that young boy Noble Mendy. Apparently today we've agreed a deal, I think, with Betis for him. So hopefully we get him in the door, because I think because I don't want John Suter in that left centre back position. I feel like the angles are all off for him when he's trying to play out from the back. I want to see him be a backup to on the right hand side, and bring someone else on the left hand side, whether it be Fernandez or this Noble Mendy can start there, a left footer. And then we also need another left back, and I feel like we also need another winger as well to go with the striking option, because at the weekend again, we're playing Ant-Man and Gassama, and there was no real alternative to bring on Curtis, but again he's relying on an 18-year-old lad. Cortez, I mean, what's happening with him? For me, I feel like the manager doesn't fancy him, and he should be out the door this month, probably on loan rather than a sell. But I think we need another winger. We need more options in that area, in the attacking area, and strengthen that defense as well. If we can do that, then I think we can really judge him in September, because it's going to be hard, and we're an impatient fan base, and we have the right to be impatient as well, because we have been through the hardest of times. And now that we've got these new owners, and we're doing business in the transfer market, where we're excited, we want things to happen, and we want things to happen now. But I think if we can get these, we can get a few more players in, get the players that we've already signed, we haven't yet seen, into the team. Then from September onwards, once we get back from the international break, I feel like that is when we can really judge this team. But please, Russell Martin, do not think that we can rely on Dowell and have him in your starting lineup, because the reaction that he got at the weekend, I've never, since I started watching football, seen a player get booed that loudly when they come on, and there's a reason for that as well. It's just not good enough, and we can't. As soon as the transfer window's closed, he'll be off injured again, and then we'll be stuck with him in the squads, hanging around for the next 6 months until the January window. So no, get rid of him, and then we can move on with our lives.
Yeah, well, we'll get onto that shortly as well, with Kieran Dill, of course, getting booed off there at the weekend. I'm going to go back to what you were saying about Nobel Mendy, and we need a new left back as well. We're supposedly linked with a boy from Monaco as well, a young, I believe, 19-year-old as well from Monaco, Kasum Utara. So yeah. I honestly don't know anything about him. I've heard that we're linked with him, that's just about it. But I don't know if there's anything concrete in it, if there's anything sort of proper interest in there between the clubs. But all I know is that the boy Nobel Mendy was supposedly agreed a fee of around $2 million for him. He was at Betis last season, of course, but he was at Betis B team the season before on loan from Paris FC, and he supposedly impressed. So that's why Betis signed him. So he's clearly not a bad player, because supposedly he failed a medical at PSV as well. So if a PSV, one of the better clubs in Europe, of course, a familiar opponent as well in the last few years. But yeah, I mean, I don't know much about him. I've not seen anything about the two players, Utara.
You just gave us his
and
entire biography. you know something about him. Don't put yourself down, Lewis. You just gave us his entire history.
I do my homework. I don't know about you. I
Right.
do my
But
homework.
you do know stuff. Pick yourself up. You do know stuff about him, man. You've given me his entire life. What did he get for his higher French?
Just on that left back situation, that boy from Monaco, I seen the other side of Glasgow was also linked with him, so I don't know if there's any truth in that. It could just be paper talk. And then I've also seen that Jeff.
Arctic Thistle?
No, the
Queen's Park.
and I've also seen Jeff Day has been linked with a move away from Ibrox for €6 million to a Brazilian club as well. That could just also be paper talk.
What did you say, 6 million?
Yeah, €6 million.
6 million, get him out the door.
6 million for Jeff. You're talking out your
I seen
bum.
that a couple of
Can't
nights
swear
ago.
on this, but you're talking out your bum.
And on
So,
the,
if somebody offers 6 million for Jeffy, then I'm sorry, his feet shouldn't touch the ground, to be perfectly honest.
Aye.
That, but again, I'm just Jeffy. There's just a couple of players I don't rate at all at Rangers, and it's heartbreaking. But Jeffy's one of them, I'm afraid, and Danilo's the other one, and Diomande is fast for into that category. Every manager that since Diomande signed, every manager has played him, and apart from a 2 or 3 month spell, I think under maybe the end of his first season when he was still technically on loan, I've not seen much of him, to be honest. I think he scored a good goal in Europe last season, maybe once, but he seems to be playing in the number 10 at the moment, and I don't see him linking up play. I don't see him feeding through balls to Dessers or Danilo. I think he's one that does play within himself, and it's a shame because I think there's a player in there, but he's fast falling into the category for me as somebody that's not going to make it.
I don't think he will be in the starting 11 when Thelo Asgard comes back from injury, because I think he'll be on the left hand side and Cameron will get moved to the right. We need Cameron's energy in there, especially with the high pressing style of football that Russell Martin seems to want to play. Diamande just can't do that for me. He hasn't got the legs. He looks tired so quickly, out of position. He loses the ball too often as well. I'm not really a big fan. Doesn't move the ball quick enough. So I think he could end up on the bench. But then it's like, well, do we try and cash in on him this summer? Because there have been rumours with Besiktas, maybe 11 mil, 10 mil bids. I'd be inclined to see if we can get him sold before the end of the window. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Besiktas, there's apparently rumours of Ridvan Yilmaz being agreed a fee to join Besiktas for around 900,000, I think it is, or something like that. Supposedly the Besiktas president came out and said that a fee has been agreed between the two clubs. I don't know if there's much truth in that. We've seen talk like that before from Turkish clubs, but I don't know. I think he's one that will be out the door come deadline day. We've not really seen much of him, whether he's injured or whether he's going to be away, but I don't think we'll see Ridvan Yilmaz nearly starting 11 anytime soon, and I think we will get a new left back, and I think it will be that boy Utara, and if not, I don't know who. We're supposedly linked with Owen Beck, who looks to be going to Wrexham now, so yeah, there's plenty of incoming still to come, I think. I hope so. Anyways, it's needed, but yeah.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's very, very depressing as well. We'll probably go to, Victoria Pilsen and win 4-0 tomorrow. And then I think that's the new start again. It's really difficult but then we haven't mentioned it yet, but then we've got Nico Raskan that's been unceremoniously dropped. The last couple of games came on, almost changed the game actually. Having to have much, maybe not Raskan from the fans, but certainly for the manager, it seemed that Raskin was one of the ones he was calling out for the Motherwell game. But then he's come on and played, and Martin's come out with his press conference and said, "Oh, Raskin was amazing." So I don't really know what's going on with the manager and the players right now. I don't know if there's a disconnect already, or maybe he just wants to get rid of the old guard as he sees it. But it's a strange one because I'm sorry, Joe Rothwell. Maybe I'm watching the wrong games or something, not missing it. But yeah, he can be quite tidy sometimes. But I don't. I wouldn't play Joe Rothwell in front of Raskin. But then Russell Martin's made Rothwell his big signing, so he has to. So I just don't understand it. I don't really know what's going on at Rangers right now. If I'm being perfectly honest, I can't read between the lines here.
Yeah.
I
He's
think.
Joe Roth. Oh, sorry. Crack
So
on.
go on.
No,
No, I was
you
just
go.
going to say, I think that's the problem. The problem with Joe Rothwell is Russell Martin signing, and I think when he brought Joe Rothwell in, he probably thought he could make a different player out of Raskin, put him in that 8, and he could flourish, but it's not happening for him. So now he's stuck in a position where, well, does he drop Joe Rothwell, who he knows very well, and he knows he can play a system, for someone who I believe has, is better ability than Joe Rothwell in Nico Raskin, and is our most valued asset. Um, so at the minute, he's choosing Joe Rothwell, but that could change, and I feel like it should change, especially for the Old Firm game. I think we're going to need Nico Raskin back in the 6 because he knows how to play that position against that level of opposition as well. So potentially at the start, we might see, him fluctuate between the two. But I think, and especially for the club wanting to go into that player trading model, we can't have Raskin sitting on the bench for the season to start a 30-year-old Joe Rothwell, who's going to add no value to us in terms of like a player sales value. So we're gonna need to get him in the team playing in the number 6, and Joe Rothwell can come in for certain games. Like maybe you would play Joe Rothwell at home to Dundee. Maybe you would play Joe Rothwell against Livy, or But I feel like we need to make sure that we're keeping his value high, Raskin, so we can get as much money out of him as we can, so we can continue to invest in the team and to buy better players. Because at the end of the day, that is what the owners have come in to do. They're not here to just chuck money at us. They want us to become a self-sufficient club. And if we're going to do that, we need to make sure we sell players at the right time. I think personally, if we could get Raskin to sign another deal, play him in the number 6, he goes to the World Cup with Belgium next summer. Straight away, you're adding money onto his value if it would work out that way. But it's not going to work out that way if we put him on the bench. So it's a big decision for him to make. And I feel like for the time being, it's always going to be Rothwell in that 6. But I hope he does. I hope he does change his mind eventually, because I feel like Raskin is definitely the better player.
Yeah.
Comment from Nathan saying, sorry, just what about Josh Doig, I think you pronounce his name, left back, Scottish left back.
I've not really seen anything about him being linked with the club this window, anyways. Of course, in the past, but I doubt it. I doubt it, to be honest. I don't really know how he's doing
Let's
over
put
in
the
Italy.
name
I've
out
not
there
really seen
because
much.
it's a Scottish player, and there are rules in Europe where you have to have a minimum, I think it's 8 Scottish players that have trained at a Scottish club for 3 years or more or whatever. So
Yeah.
we're fast running out of them. And there's Lennon Miller's off to Budinese apparently today.
All right.
And that's another great Scottish midfielder that could have been the heart of our midfield for 5 years, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
If I hadn't go, we lost out. We didn't go for Lewis Ferguson back in the day. We didn't go for Aaron Hickey. We didn't go for a couple of other players. And the names on the top of my head escape me. There's one again, Lennon Miller. He would have been great at Rangers. Could at any club, to be honest. A really good, promising player, and
Mm-hmm.
that'd be one maybe spend the money. Would probably cost about the same as Joe Rothwell, roughly. And then, but we could in 3 years' time, 4 years' time, you would sell one for 15, 20 million.
Yeah.
And it seems crazy we haven't. Maybe we went in through it. Well, I said just out completely no off the bat, but it seems strange that we're not going for these kind of players.
I think not getting Lewis Ferguson for me it was absolutely criminal. Especially with the family ties to the club. He was a future Rangers captain for the next 10 years easily, but we didn't want to spend the money on him. And look what he's doing now. Captain Bologna to Champions League football and captain them to their first trophy in how many years? It was such an
Yeah.
easy get for us, surely. So, but yes, that has to be part of the model. You look at the teams like Bayern Munich. They're constantly winning because they're buying the best players in their league. We should be snapping up, especially the best young Scottish players, because, like you say, you need that for Europe as well. It's what you should be doing, because these players, they know the league, they know the opposition that they're coming up against. It should be standard for us now. These we should be aiming, and then buying the best players that we can afford elsewhere as well. But that's just to bring the quality levels up. But having that core group of players who understand the league, I think, is really important.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go back to what we were talking about with Rothwell. He was one of those players who was brought in to sort of slow down the game, to dictate the game, and you know what, I think he certainly slowed down the game there on Saturday. I think a bit too much, constantly sideways and backwards passes, but I mean, I've not really seen enough to convince me about Joe Rothwell. Not yet, anyways. I do agree that Nico Raskin is probably the better option for in that defensive role. I don't see Russell Martin changing that anytime soon. I think he's a bit stubborn with his tactics. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm proved wrong. Supposedly tomorrow night or even at the weekend, but I doubt it.
See,
Yeah. Also,
It's
just
about
on
tomorrow then. What's your thoughts on tomorrow then? Will we finish the job off, do you think?
Tomorrow, yeah. I mean, I think we've got to finish the job off. Surely, I mean, we're a good few goals up. I mean, you've got to. I think Pilsen will try and come out and attack as early as they should. They're at home. They're down a good few goals. They've got to get an early goal, possibly try be a couple up at half time. I don't see that happening. I think it'll be a similar game to the Panathinaikos away game. I don't think we'll see much of Rangers on the ball. I think Pilsen will try and dominate the ball, and I think we'll try sit off a bit, sort of see the victory out. But yeah, I think it'll be similar to what we've seen last week, anyways. Well, 2 weeks ago now.
I think on that, yeah, I think we should, yeah, I think Rangers will probably end up dominating the ball, which I think Victoria Pilsen should allow us to do, because that is where their best chances are going to come from. I don't think necessarily that they're going to dominate the ball, because if they look at all of our performances, you know, if they dominate the ball, we can hit them on a break. Look at the Gassam and Ant-Man, etc., the pace that we've got. But if we dominate the ball, if they let us dominate the ball and just set traps for us to win the ball high up the pitch, like other teams have done. Panathinaikos did that. Pretty much all of their chances came from us losing the ball. And look at the goals. The goal that Dundee scored came from us losing the ball. Even the free kick that they got that led to the goal came from us losing the ball. So I think it should be a case of, if I was Victoria Pilsen manager, I would say let them have the ball, set traps. As soon as we win the ball back, we go, because that we are at our weakest when we've got the ball, in my opinion. You know, because we don't move the ball quick enough. We're so lazy in our passing out from the back. So I hope we allow them to have the ball. But I feel like Russell Martin's going to want to play our game, control the ball, and that's where I feel like we're going to come unstuck potentially. But we need to make sure we don't concede in the first 10, 20 minutes. Because if we do that, then it might be a painful night.
Yeah, I mean, I think similar to the Panathinaikos game once again, I think you go a goal down and you start fearing the worst, to be honest. I mean, we've seen teams come back from bigger deficits than this, so a game's not done. The game's never done. It's only half time. I think he'll play pretty much the same team or a similar team as what he did there on the weekend and last week as well against Pilsen, but should he? I don't think so. Not after that weekend. I don't think many of those players deserve a start, especially not away from home.
Well, he did. To be fair to you, Lewis, you're right. He did come out himself and said I should have changed things, but I mean, it's. I think we will go through it. I think it's going to be quite. I think it's going to be quite difficult. And as Jace says, if we lose a goal in the first 10, 15 minutes, it's quick bomb time. But I actually think we'll go away and win maybe 2-0 or something. Like I really do. But then looking ahead to Alloa on Saturday, we might struggle to beat Alloa. We'll get through it and maybe probably be playing Bruges in the next round. And I would probably fancy our chances of beating Bruges, but because we'll be playing Europe. But there's just something not quite right with the lesser teams, if you pardon the expression, because that's the moment when they play Rangers, they're not. But yeah, so I think they'll go through tomorrow. I think it'll be 2-0 Rangers.
Yeah, what about you,
Nice
Jay? What do you think the score will be tomorrow night?
A nice birthday present for myself as well.
Oh, aye, so it is, aye. So it is your birthday.
Get that in there.
Hey, Jay, what do you think the score will be?
I'm gonna go 2-1. I think they'll take the lead, but then they'll really push for that second. We'll score on a break. The Gas Man and the Ant Man scored 2 goals, 2-1 Rangers.
What about you, Dylan? What do you think the score will be?
I think it'll be a 1-each draw. If we go into the game with the inverted fullbacks, if they've got explosive wingers, they're just going to run riot. It's just going to be a one-on-one with the centre-back every time.
Yeah. I don't know, Jay and Dylan probably still man says I was going to say 1-each or 2-1 there. I think 2-1. I do think we will win comfortably. Anyways, we'll see us go through comfortable. But anyways, we'll talk a little bit about the weekend there again. We'll talk a little bit about how we've seen Dowell get booed off the park, and we've seen that before with players. But as Jay said, I don't think we've heard a boo that loud. A player get brought off the park with that sort of. Sorry, my mind's went blank there. But yeah, we'll talk about that. Personally, I've came out and said before. I don't agree with booing your players. I don't agree with booing your own team, booing your manager. I don't think that's what you call supporting your team. I know a lot of people will feel different. Plenty of people will feel different anyways. I just want to know what you feel like in that sense.
I don't see how it helps in that situation. I can understand the frustration from the fans, and for me, if the fan wants to boo, they can boo it. They pay their money to go to the games. They're entitled to their opinion. For me, at that moment in time, him coming onto the pitch, then he must have felt like, shit. He must have felt terrible, and I feel like it definitely wouldn't have helped his confidence in that moment. But I can understand it. He should be nowhere near that pitch, and the fact that Russell Martin keeps playing him time and time again, it baffles me. I think it baffles the whole fan base. And I think for his own good, I don't think he should be near the squad anymore because, like he said in his press conference, I don't think the fans are that forgiving for previous performances. He's trying to give everyone a new slate, and I can understand that. But what are we doing here? It's not going to do him any good. He's not performing for us on the pitch. So why do we keep going to this Dowell experiment? It's not working. Just keep him out for now and try to get him a move because he clearly wants that move away. I think he's desperate for a move. So make it happen for him.
I mean, I think we've seen plenty of times with Kieran Dowell as well. He comes onto the pitch and he came in. We had high hopes. He came in. He was experienced down south, but he wasn't experienced in terms of being old. He'd played a lot of games, played a lot of minutes for Norwich. A quality player down south, especially in the Championship, hasn't obviously proved that up here. Every time I've seen him step onto the pitch, it looks as if he gives 50%. He doesn't give his all. You can clearly see that. We've seen slight glimpses of what he can bring to the team, but that's not enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just totally agree. Like I was just going to. On you going to go, Dylan?
I just want to talk about the sending off. It looked very soft, but I suppose you could say the same about the penalty. And I believe if we do go through in the Champions League, I think we postpone the St Mirren game, which means Giga will miss the Old Firm, I do believe, because it was a straight red card.
Yeah, you're right. And just get back to just going to Kieran Dowell. I don't like to hear boos. I actually don't mind booing it full time because I think people are entitled to their opinion. I think half time is too soon to boo, and I think that I think I mean as much as I don't rate Dowell, it doesn't do the relationship between the whole squad and the fan base any good by booing somebody coming on. Russell Martin does rate Kieran Dowell. He's made it perfectly clear he rates Kieran Dowell. He's made Kieran Dowell a senior part of the squad for all by all accounts as well. So I think he sees. Whoa, excuse me. I think he sees something in there, and yeah. But to boo a player coming on, you're 1-0 down. I think he was just a vent, a kind of a press release for the fans, venting their frustration. But yeah, it's not good at all.
But to add to that, Russell Martin's sides have been booed off the pitch more times than league games we played this season. Got booed off in the first pre-season game of the season. Got booed off at Fir Park and got booed off again at the weekend. So it's not looking good so far in that respect.
Definitely not. It's very poor actually. I mean. Was Danilo on the bench on Saturday? I don't understand why you wouldn't bring on somebody like Danilo to play just behind Dessers when we've been 1-0 down. Like,
Danilo was
I
on the
think
bench,
Danilo came
yeah.
on
He was brought on, yeah.
And we went into like a
Yeah,
3-2-4, so it just left us really open. And then that's what I mean, like the last 10-20 minutes there, it's just guns blazing. We should be doing that from the start of the game. We should be going for the early goal in the first 5-10 minutes and then kill the team off by half time. It's just the way Russell Martin wants to play. He wants Joe Roffel in between the defenders, and then he wants these two midfielders, his number 8 and his number 10, to be pushing forward to run into the spaces. But it's as if it's only Lau Cameron that wants to really do that right now. So
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Lyle Cameron, we've seen a lot of the talk. We're not talking very highly of the players, and rightly so. But Lyle Cameron is one of the ones who sort of stands out to me. Seems very sort of, I don't know the word. Very. Sorry, my mind's gone a bit blank here. Seems like
No,
one
but
for the future, anyways. I mean, we've seen glimpses of him at Dundee, of course, when he played Rangers a couple of times, but looks to be a very talented young player, one for the future, as I just said. Yeah, I quite like the look of him, and I liked the look of him before he came into the club as well. I thought he was a similar player to sort of Lennon Miller, one of those young Scottish talents that we should be going for, and I was actually surprised that we did sign him, but yeah, yeah.
no, I like him.
There's a couple of
Um,
comments. Nathan saying, Dull Loyal, hope he bangs a winner into the, I'll just say Celtic rather than what he said. Bet the Boo Boys would love him then. Interesting point. Like if he does start the game against Celtic and scores a free kick to 30 yards to win the game, then you know, stranger things have happened. I doubt it. Alex Kelly, a good friend of the show, seen the Boo Boys from the voice again, and I don't think they ever went away. To be perfectly honest, it's not the first time we've booed this season, and yeah, both the best and worst support in the world. Do you think just to kind of maybe finish off the show with a kind of philosophical question, if he's like guys, do you think we need to be more understanding and patient at the moment, especially with a new manager, a new squad, a mostly new squad? Are we giving them a hard time for no reason, or is it just is it at this moment in time, 2 games into the season, is it justified booing or justified frustration?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's not deserved or anything like that, but I don't. I've never agreed with booing your own players, booing your team. I think we do need to be patient as much as we don't have as much time as people wish we had. I've heard talk of being like, oh, we might not win the league this year, but we'll win the league next year and all that. But we've not got that time. We can't see. Well, I'm not going to say their name. We can't see that other side win more trophies. We can't have that. I mean, we've got high hopes of the 49ers coming in and all that. I mean, you can talk all you want, all this money coming in. There's not as much as what folk are saying. We've spent a fair bit, but I think we do need to be more patient. I can understand why people aren't being patient. I'm not patient, but I think we should be.
I think also everyone's got hope now. You know, like
Yeah.
before, it just felt like there was no, we were terrible, but there was no end in sight, and everyone was a bit down. So it's, you expect less in those moments. But with the new owners and the new sort of football operations team that they've got in place now as well, and the new manager and buying so many new players as well and doing our business as well as we have done, there's just that higher expectation now. So the fans demand more. And we're so desperate though. Because we've seen them just, win title after title, cup after cup. And we want a bit of that now. And we feel like we're close to it. And it's that feeling of being so close to something, but you can't yet touch it. But then having the performances that we've had domestically for the first 2 games, I think that's just a massive kick in the teeth, really. Because the fans can be patient, but as long as if they don't get the results, fine. But if we played Dundee, drew 1-1, we had 30 shots, they had 1 shot, I think the fans would be like, we can see something. We're just really unlucky. Maybe we've had that extra striker. We'll win that game. But because we didn't see that, it's like, well, what are we waiting for? What are we hoping that is going to come in the next month or two? Is it just going to be another? Oh, it's a project. We'll be better in October, November, and it never comes. Is it one of those again? Another false dawn. There's no evidence to suggest that this is going to work domestically. This style of play, and I think that is the frustration. There's no excitement there domestically at the minute, and I feel like Russell Martin's got a job in his hands to change it and to change people's opinions on him, because people didn't want him. Well, a lot of the fan base didn't want him when he first came in the door, and at the moment they're sort of being justified in their opinion because it's not worked domestically. So he needs to turn it around quick, and I'm just really annoyed that it's a cup game at the weekend. I want league action. I want to see us play against other Premier League teams. Rather than playing the cup game against a lower, because I still feel like I'm not going to learn anything from that game. We should be beating that team easily. I'm not going to learn anything from the game tomorrow because we know we can perform in those games. I want to see us play against St Mirren away. I want to see us develop, against these teams. But unfortunately, we have to wait until the Old Firm at the end of the month. But again, that's a different type of test to what we're going to be facing week in, week out, really. So yeah, I feel like the fans are justified in their opinions, but I'm afraid it's just going to take longer than we were hoping for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I
just
mean, that. Sorry, crack on.
just some breaking news. So just actually, it's just broken right in the last 2 seconds, literally.
Right.
Rangers Academy can confirm today that it's in a cooperation agreement with Raith Rovers of the Championship, Alloa Athletic of League One, and Stirling Avenue of League Two. So there we go. Just some breaking news to maybe end the show there.
Yeah, I
So
mean, you're talking about these cooperation agreements between the clubs lower in the leagues. We've seen that. I think that's only become a thing this season. We've seen plenty of clubs in the top flight sort of associating themselves with lower league clubs, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a great chance to let players go and get some game time, especially your young players. I mean, as much as we've not really got a B team now, but your academy players go out and get a bit of game time and competitive football as well. It's not you're not just playing against young boys. You're playing against grown men. You're playing against football players. So I think it's a great opportunity to let players get a bit of experience. And if there's any sort of young talent that's coming through these academies at Raith Rovers, Alloa, and Stirling Albion as well, it's not hard for us to sort of snap them up and get them involved in our academy.
No, I really like it, and I like that we've got
Yeah.
a different club from each league as well, from the lower leagues, because you can really put your young players at the right level. And one year they could be playing League Two football, but then you could put them into League One or Championship depending on how they develop over that season in League Two. So no, I really like it, but I also think. As well as doing this, we need to make sure that we're also loaning out players to teams in the Premiership. Because at the end of the day, if we let's say we loaned out Curtis or Cortes or whoever to like Livingston or Falkirk or Hearts or Motherwell, and they become big players for them, they can't play against us in the league. So it's those advantages that we need to take them get the most out of as well, because we want players playing for these teams in the Premiership as well that will play the hardest against the other lot and know that they can't play against us. So as much as I like obviously what we're doing with these partnerships with lower league teams, I think that will really help the academy. We also need to do a lot more loaning players out to the Premiership as well.
Yeah, of course, Dylan. What do you think about this whole cooperation agreement between?
I think it's good. It would be good for players like Finlay Curtis. I think he is a good player, but I just don't believe he is ready for the squad right now. I do see him going out on loan, maybe by the end of this transfer window, even just for 6 months up until January. I do, on the striker situation, I believe Ant-Man did play striker earlier in his career, so that could be the man to run into those pockets of space and have Mikey Moore and Gassama. And that could be the front three, depending if we sell Igaman, Dessers, or Danilo.
Yeah, I mean, Goldie, what do you think?
I mean, it's yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's good we've got these agreements in place. I think there's a lot of players. I think we've got a big, massive squad right now. I think we've still got something like 40, 45 players. So we need to even put some players out on loan. Absolutely correct. I think they do. And if other teams can pay in a percentage of their wages, then that's good for us as well. But yeah, these guys, like somebody like Oscar Cortes, his confidence is shot to pieces. You can see it. He's probably, he needs a lower level because bringing him on with 10 minutes to go when they're down at Ibrox, whatever, down to 10. I mean, he's not going to function with that. That's too much pressure. So, yeah, somebody like him could benefit from out on loan. And then people like Finlay Curtis, who are maybe on the verge of breaking through a season in the Premiership, just sending him out somewhere like, Hearts or, well, I don't want to say Aberdeen, but Hearts, Hibs, Motherwell, etc. Could do something like Finlay Curtis, the world are good for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Alex Lowry go to Hearts as well a couple of seasons ago. Of course, didn't really turn out too great for him. Of course, he's ended up down south at Wickham. But yeah, I agree with you. We should be loaning out to these clubs in the Premiership as well. Even your lower down clubs like your Livingstons, your Falkirks, your Motherwells, your Dundee Uniteds, Dundees. Loaning out to these sort of clubs and letting these players get the best of experience in our own league.
Yeah, we want to be strengthening these clubs, like I said before, so they can potentially take points off of Celtic. But
Yeah.
yeah, we need to make more use of that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but we're just about to approach sort of 50-minute mark. We're sort of dragging on a little bit here. I think we'll call it quits unless Any of yous have any other points to make at all?
A 4-0 Rangers tomorrow. We beat Celtic 5-0 at Ibrox. The league championship's back on. Let's go.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. We'll see. Yeah, but we beat them at the end of the month. And then we win our game in hand. Of course, we're only a point behind. So, and then we've got all our players from the summer ready to go again in September. So it's still all to play for.
Yeah, of course. The league's not done. I hate folk who are already saying like congratulations to Celtic winning the league and all that. I don't agree with that. We're only 2 games into the season, and as much as you want to start on the strong foot, I mean, there's still 36 other league games to go. We've got plenty of time, I think. But anyways, apart from that, I think we'll finish off there unless there's any other comments you want to acknowledge at all.
No, just well done to Dylan for his first team appearance this season. He's a bit like Finlay Curtis debut. Look, he's starting looking a bit like Finlay Curtis as well, actually. So it's just like Finlay Curtis making his competitive debut for the Gers TV. Well done, Dylan.
Cheers.
Thank you for a bit too much to drink all day. I don't see it myself.
The trouble is I've not had enough to drink. That's the problem.
Right, anyways.
Right,
but
guys.
I think
Great
we'll
show.
finish off
Pleasure
there.
as always.
Yep, thank you
We'll
very
sign
much.
off.
Thank you to
Cheers.
everyone who's interacted and commented and shared and everything else. Thank you to Jay, Gordy, and of course Dylan, the debutant tonight, of course. And always remember, we are the people.
We're the people. See you later.
See you later.